I just realized I've been muted this whole time. Namaste, everybody. Just let's drop in for a few minutes and then we'll begin a short discussion and then meditate for the rest of the hour together. Hey. The first thing we need to do when we sit down to meditate is allow our energy to dissipate any lack of purity. Really just allow it all to dissipate off of you. We're slowing down and we're bringing our attention to our energy field, the feeling, the palpable physical feeling. The primary physical location in the body you can bring attention to is the heart. We allow the heart to soften, to release. We're seeking to submerge in the energy, in the now. Allow yourself to become gentle. In the Bhakti path, we have a lot of gentleness. It's one of the ways that we access the bliss of existence, devotion to existence. But the world is so power-oriented, so we can pick up the need to push and not be gentle. So this is a safe space where you can really submerge in your gentleness. Really starts in the heart, heart chakra. I'd like to help everybody access Shakti. Shakti is experienced as a transcendental light in the mind, in the aura. It is the fabric of the self. It's a very essential quality of the self. And it appears as a effulgent light in the mind. And for us to really have a potent experience in meditation, a great experience in meditation, we can access the Shakti. And sitting here together, there's an empathic attunement and transmission that perhaps you haven't felt it before, but we will find it in the map of the cosmos within and go there together. So there's a power within the mind, a brightness, a vitality that is the very nature of the mind. And if we soften our fixation on physicality, we can allow that power to awaken within us. It's there, it's just being resisted by the formations that the mind holds. When you allow everything to dissolve, we're starting with our eyes closed. So look and see if you can see the brightness in your mind. The eyes are closed, but there's a brightness there. Surrender into that. Feel into that brightness. Bring the brightness into the entire body. Feel its high frequency vibration, purifying the body and the astral structures, the chakras, the nadi, the kundalini. All of that can be purified by this light, which is called Shakti. Really allow it to be bright. I think we can keep going with the meditation and do the discussion, the sermon, the end. I'd like to talk with everybody about how you can build a routine for awakening, for love, power, inner power, for freedom. We'll do that at the end, but let's keep going with this meditation. Let's bring our attention to the heart center in the center of the chest. If you were to say, I am so-and-so, you can put your finger there, or you can just feel it with your mind. Sometimes for a beginner, or if we need a little push as a more advanced practitioner, we can put our finger here. And by focusing on that spot and bringing the light into that spot, we can purify the heart. Very, very powerful thing to do. So feeling the heart. Now, usually I go through a chakra sequence, but it is nearing the solstice, and there's so much power accessible to us. I think it's a more aligned thing to do right now is try to dissolve into the silence, into the light, into the power. Allow it to wash you away. You can definitely keep feeling the heart. We want to let our mind expand into the eternal planes, into the nothingness. And you can focus on me. If it helps you, this energy is in me right now. So think of it as a map. We're very empathic. So when you focus on somebody, you really open your heart, look with your sixth sense. You can be pointed in a direction. So I'm very much in this light. I want to see it as an actual visual experience. It's a visual experience, but you can also feel it. It's not a photon. It's a light within the mind. And don't worry so much about your thoughts. Allow them to dissipate. Just focus when you have the awareness to into being absorbed. Be absorbed in the power, spiritual power that surrounds you, that's within everything. Be absorbed in it. Remember that meditation is a powerful experience. We don't want to fall asleep. There's a poise and a strength within. One of the ways you can awaken this feeling is by focusing on your third eye. Focus on your third eye and feel that you are infinitely poised, powerful samurai. Samurai that lives by heart, justice, honor, but your mind is present. You've given your full attention to the universe in the now, listening to it without your idea of it, giving up everything and listening from emptiness, which is vitality. To feel the spot in the third eye. Look forward with a poise, a powerful poise. It's a state of neither resisting or attracting, a state of dispassionate presence and love. So we're going to do just a few more minutes of this, take a break. Really give it your all for a few minutes. Try to find that light and bring it into your mind, allowing its brightness, brilliance to wash over you. Wash from within you, through you. All right, guys, let's take a break. Oh, thank you. So it's nice to do a little sharing. Did anybody have any experiences where you're able to access this light? Do you have any questions for me? It's important that, sometimes perhaps I can do something to help. Um, or maybe, if you weren't able to access the light, there's other things you can do to move in that direction. So, Daniel, namaste. Would you like, can you share something? Hello?
So yeah, I kind of saw that light.
And did
Like
it appear as a
like
certain color?
white light,
Hmm.
and like I could find it like in the center of like the center of my head, but I had to focus in order to see the light because like if I didn't pay attention, I wouldn't see it. So when I started paying attention, I I could tell that there was like something blocking the light. So I like started approaching, and at the beginning it looked a little bit like a forest because there were like a little branches.
Hmm.
But when I got closer, they were like springs, like black springs, and these springs were in some way blocking the light. So the light could go through like in between like all the strangled springs. That's what it was like hard seeing it.
Did you say
So at
strings?
some point it was like yes, yes, it were like strings blocking the light.
So there's a black
And
light.
well, it was a little bit.
There's a black light that is actually a very, very bright light. It becomes so bright it appears black. And that's a very deep quality of light. And also I want to say, if anybody wants to just keep meditating, sometimes if we go too long, it can be a little too much for people. But if you want to continue, you're welcome to. So as we talk, um, but yeah, there's a black light. So perhaps you were seeing that, or it might have been something obscuring it. But don't worry about the things that obscure the light. Um, it's better we have these descriptions to help us become more acquainted with it. That helps us to access it again more deeply. Uh, it's kind of like when you wake up from a dream. If you write down what you were dreaming right away, it stays with you and you remember it. So Daniel, is do you have any more of your description, or can we go on to somebody else?
Yeah, no, actually,
Wonderful. I love that you saw the white light. That's and perhaps you saw the black light even. I'm wondering if you think that's maybe what you saw. Namaste. How about Karan? Nice to see you again. Were you able to tap into the experience?
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah.
Am I audible? Yes. Okay. My experience was good, but I did not see any light. I did my own version of meditation, so I was not focused onto the third eye and heart chakra, but I did my own meditation
Okay.
like I do daily.
Well, if you can try to whatever kind of meditation you're doing, uh, if you start to see the light in that meditation. So like when I do mathematics, I actually go into light to do mathematics from the light. It's a very powerful thing. So whatever you're doing, you can begin to go into the light doing it. And eventually the self starts to dissolve away and there's nobody to do anything. The light does you. So perhaps if you really have a wonderful practice that you've been doing for many years, and you're maybe explore trying to experience the light in that, or just opening up to that possibility. I think you can be doing chakra meditation or mantra, and there can be light at the same time. So, but it's really up to the light. So sometimes it may happen, it may not. Just open yourself to the possibility, because it has a very transformative factor in it. So what do you think? What do you think about that, Karen? Oh, hello, can you guys hear me? Oh, I think his internet froze. Either that or he didn't like what I said. One of the two. Probably his internet froze. That's a nice guy. Well, would anybody else like to share?
Sure. When you said surrender to the light, I kind of felt there was swirling, but higher up than I usually do. And it was like a swirling different colors of light. So that was nice.
Nice.
Thank
so
you.
it was higher up. This is my mom, everybody. Namaste, Mom.
Namaste. Take that.
Thanks. I love that she's very good at experiencing the light. We've been doing this for a number of years. So you felt it up in your crown area? Oh, you're muted again.
More in my forehead area.
Okay. Swirling.
Yeah.
Any
Thank
colors?
you.
Any particular colors?
Sort of the reds, pinks, and purples.
Nice.
Thanks.
You're welcome. So Ayush, anybody else want to share? Ariella?
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, Ayush.
When the meditation began, I had too many thoughts in my mind, but as it was keep on going, the thoughts just drops, and now the mind is very calm and relaxed. This is my feeling.
Beautiful, wonderful. Yeah, it's when I say the word dissipate, let your thoughts dissipate. It's kind of like we're holding them, and when we stop holding them, they just kind of go away, right? And they do that on their own. And it's interesting because we go through life holding our thoughts, and there's so much, and that's a part of the habitual quality process of becoming. We're always trying to do things. We're holding a future. We're holding a whole bunch of things. But if we could just surrender and dissolve, go home inside, right? So this allowing your thoughts to dissipate is a big, first thing to do, and a necessary step. You can't skip that step. I suppose things can happen simultaneously, but that's a good first step. So wonderful. Thank you, Ayush. Namaste. Ariella?
I started off seeing some white light, and then I don't know what happened, if I dissolved, or I have no memory of what happened after that, and I just kind of blanked out.
Wonderful. If there's a it sounds like you may be experiencing the impersonal existence. You go into the light, and on the other side of the light, there's a state of timelessness and spacelessness and selflessness, where you become the source. So perhaps you're having an actual nirvana experience. It's like a nirvana experience,
Wow.
a full samadhi experience. So you might even look up the word samadhi, S-M-A-D-H. D-H-I, samadhi. samadhi, there's something called nirvikalpa samadhi. It's a state like that. There's other types of samadhis too. So that's really what we're seeking to have as a samadhi, experience of samadhi. You know this word, Karan? I feel like Karan's in Tibet and he knows like all the Sanskrit words.
Yes, I know that word.
Yes. So when we go through the light, it's kind of an access point to samadhi. Perhaps you can go through it quickly. All right. So, Ravindra, namaste. Thank you you're the one I was talking to on Instagram, right? Oh, wonderful. Oh, your energy is fantastic. So powerful. And by the way, I loved how you just kept meditating, and you're welcome to do that. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you feel, if you like, you can share, if you want to.
Yeah, I meditate not continuously, occasionally kind of thing.
Huh?
And in my experience, what I feel is when I start meditating, then I start visualizing and observing outside surrounding inside my mind. Like I don't see such colors or some brightness or some light, but I start visualizing like a dream, like a kind of perception maybe, but it's like a pictorial or kind of movie, very random movie, kind of things which is like I'm opening my eyes and I'm seeing something which I cannot detect. I'm following it, but I keep following it. The more I go following it, the more it get blurred and it becomes so complex to identify what actually I'm visualizing and thinking or getting
So,
such things. Yeah, something.
so I'd like to ask you, do you feel that you're visualizing, or do you feel that it is being revealed to you? It's a different thing. Sometimes you can have visions that are not from within. They flash and they're not of your creation. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, some kind of flash, but I don't say it's kind of light, but it's really kind of dreaming, the state where we dream, when we dream and we wake up and we just remember a lot of things, and not exactly the same intensity happens, but somewhat sort of things which I can correlate or I can compare with it. And except that, I can compare these thoughts with any other things which I ever have experienced or might have seen or imagined. But it doesn't stay longer. It just discontinues and sometimes distracted by the surrounding also. But yeah.
It's not, you may be having psychic, accessing that psychic plane. Sometimes you can have a vision that is like it's like an energetic transmission from something that is manifesting visually. So it could be that. It also, sometimes when we go into a deep state, like Mom, last week, you're like, oh, I just start dreaming. And there's sometimes the mind works out an elucidation process of developing clarity. When you let go enough, it starts to make everything come right. It's like a computer that's putting all the information in a nice, clean way and reordering it because you've allowed it to recollate. And that is the word I think of. So, well, namaste. Thank you for being here. Yeah, and again, please, I'm sharing this light with, talking about the light. Don't feel that you have to see it. Usually you'll see it when I meditate with people in person. We eye gaze with each other, and I can help people to see the light in person. It's a lot easier. We do it online too. One of the ways to do it is to eye gaze. So if anybody would like to, let's do a meditation again. But this time with the eyes open, and I'll go one-on-one with whoever wants to, and we'll gaze at each other. And the way you do it is you don't look at the physical form as much. You look all around and behind you and inside of you and everything. And this can actually open a doorway to the light. So Rabindra, would you like to try it? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. It goes. Okay. Anybody else would like to try it? Okay. Ayush, yes. Yay. So I'll go around and do that with you guys once we start. But let's see, how much time do we have? Okay, we only have 18 minutes. So I'd like to do that meditation, but let's talk first about the sermon or the spiritual discussion I wanted to cover, because we're doing this program, and I'd love for this to really not just be a meditation you guys show up to, but something that can really grow and transform your life, like so that you're more empowered, so that your studies are more empowered, so that you embody divine love, so you progress along the path to enlightenment. And an essential thing is to build a routine. So a routine is something you do consistently every day. It helps you to ensure that you're getting to do the things you love to do. So say you really love to play music, you may go years without playing music or just play it sporadically. But if you get into the habit of playing music at a certain time, at a certain place, consistently every day, you build that into your habit, and it can be very difficult not to play music. So it's a great thing to make it difficult not to do the things you love to do because you're just in a habit of it. But it takes power and energy to transform yourself, to change your habits so that you have routine as a part of your life. So I'm suggesting a spiritual routine that goes like this, that will powerfully change you if you do it consistently. And it is just wake up in the morning, meditate for 15 minutes. If you can meditate in the light, even better, 15 minutes. You can also just feel the heart for 15 minutes. I mean, what a wonderful thing to wake up and generate heart energy. Feel your heart for 15 minutes. Imagine how different your day will be when you walk around with heart. All the different synchronicities. People will see you as a different person. People see very clearly who you are inside, whether they're aware of it or not. You sit and meditate on your heart for 15 minutes. The next thing is to read for 15 minutes. And not just read anything, but read the words of somebody who's in an enlightened state or a close enlightened state. You could read the Bhagavad Gita. You could read autobiography of a yogi. You could read Tagore. You could read Ramana Maharshi. You could read Eckhart Tolle. There's a lot of, I've got a reading list on my website. You could read any of the books from there. I think those are my suggestions, actually. And it'd be great if you read those books. If we've all read some of those books, it'll help us relate to each other better. So it's a nice thing in a community to make sure that we've read a set of books together, and we can say, oh yeah, an autobiography of a yogi when they manifest the golden palace, right? Do you remember that chapter? We can talk about it, right? And it becomes relevant in various things that we discuss. So that for 15 minutes, right after you meditate. So you meditate, you don't check your phone, because whatever you focus on after you meditate, you're very susceptible to the energetic structure of whatever you focus on. So if you just focused on a strawberry after you meditate, you'd feel very strawberry energy, right? It doesn't matter what you focus on. If you focus on enlightenment, you'll feel the strawberry would be a nice thing to focus on, but it's lots of lovely energy. But if you focus on the Bhagavad Gita, it helps you to not get caught in the currents of society that are very worldly focused, right? You say, okay, I'm a spiritual person in this world, and now I feel connected to that, right? We can lose connection with it if we constantly are getting swept into the currents of society's interests. Unless you live in and perhaps some of you live in a community of very spiritual people where you're just exposed to spirituality all the time. But for most of us, that's not the case, right? The world is not generally like that. I don't think even in India and Japan, it's not like that in anywhere really, unless you live in a monastery. So this is a way for us to keep our connection with the spiritual sentiment of those people who speak about enlightenment and love it, right? So those are the two things: meditate, read. The next one is, can you guess? Anybody can guess. Do mathematics. So if you do mathematics after reading, you're going to do mathematics from an enlightened perspective, right? We want to do mathematics. You can do it with your eyes closed. Just, we'll get into, if you take my mathematics classes on Mondays, we'll get into what you can contemplate and how you can do it. But you can just start for now, since you haven't done that, by just thinking about mathematics. Think about pi. What is pi? Count powers of 2. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. Do that. Count the Fibonacci sequence, which is, I'll have to go into that another time. Well, you can look it up, right? There's a lot of things you can do. So if you do mathematics, it brings structure to the mind. Why mathematics? Well, one, if you love mathematics, it's a form of play. You're doing something in your heart. Another reason is mathematics is structuring the mind. So you're structuring the mind so that the mind is powerful, poised. It helps in meditation to have an intelligent mind, one that has structure and order of a mathematician, which is the most an apex of order. Mathematics, right? It is pure order. It's a study of order, right? So you can do mathematics in light, if possible. You can close your eyes and feel the light while you do mathematics. It's a very profound thing. You're one of not very many people in the world who do that, right? I'm sure Srinivasa Ramanujan did something like that. I don't know if you guys know who he is, a mystic mathematician from India in the 1920s. And then the fourth thing is to do something a little bit more worldly. So take that mathematics and sit down and do computer programming for 15 minutes. You sit down and you're like, okay, let's see if I can generate this number sequence with a for loop, right? Something you did in the mathematics, sit down and communicate it to the computer. The computer programming is communication. Can you say to the computer in the language of code something very specific and precise, right? So this joy and joyful playfulness with computer programming using processing.org, I recommend, would be the fourth thing. So this is an hour of routine that you can do. And you can say you love playing piano. You can maybe make piano one of the 15-minute slots. Make sure to do the first two though. And for our community, really you should do the math at least. But perhaps you want to do the coding or maybe something else, or you can even make it longer. My routine is a very long routine when I do it. You can build a routine up to an 8-hour routine every day. Imagine you wake up at 6 and you're doing your routine till 2 p.m. Like that's the kind of level of routine you can have. I like to meditate for an hour or 2 hours twice a day. So 2 to 4 hours of meditation. I like to do Tai Chi energy work every day, 45 minutes. Really, I like to do it for longer than that. I like to do coding for a couple of hours, mathematics for a couple of hours, and then get to meet for an hour with students and people who are aligned with me, meditate in person with people. Reading for an hour or two a day is a great thing to do. You know, if you read Krishnamurti for an hour every day, it's very powerful, changes your life. So this is a monk's life, right? You have to be a monk a little bit, or a monk or a nun, to give that much attention to it if you have time. But if you want to be a mentor in our program, your study is your work. You need to be an embodiment of what you teach, right? So this is what I'm hoping to do, is if you want to be a worldly monk with a focus on mathematics, then you can expand that routine. But as a beginner, I think an hour routine is actually, I mean, say you don't have an hour, by the way, just do 15 minutes of meditation in the morning. I really highly recommend that. It applies to every human being in the world, probably to every animal in the world, and every spirit in the world, right? Because all of us have at our core the essence or quintessential quality of existence. So meditate every morning. At the very least, just feel your heart. Feel gratitude for 15 minutes. So mom, if you want to sit down and feel gratitude for 15 minutes every morning, do it for 7 days. See how it changes your life. It might be really profound for you. And if you feel resistance to doing that, perhaps find out if that's a healthy thing, right? Do I feel resistance because maybe it's just not my way? Okay, perhaps. But do you feel resistance because you feel anxious when you do that? You feel it's too much presence? Then maybe you want to check in with yourself and find out if you can overcome that. So that's the routine. And routine, a key thing about routine is consistency. When you get into the habit of something, doing it either at the same time every day, 8 a.m. every day, or at least in the same place every day. Spatial or temporal consistency. Ideally, consistency with both is even better, right? So yes, so that is what I wanted to share. So it's really transformative being a part of this. So Ariella, I know you're probably pretty busy with your grandkids and things, but even just 15 minutes every morning. And, if you really have trouble with that, perhaps start with 15 minutes of reading every morning. And, Ariella, I know you love the Kabbalah. Perhaps grab a book about the Kabbalah, read 15 minutes of that every morning, right? How nice would that be to consecrate yourself to the highest spiritual energies in your own way by making that a part of your habitual life pattern, your habit, right? Another routine element that you might enjoy is writing. So Ariella, you know how you have the work you do with babies. Perhaps you want to sit down for 15 minutes every day and write about that until it becomes clear in your mind. This is a good way to keep the mind clear. Maybe you don't want to do mathematics, but instead write some sort of pure intellectual endeavor, right? Now, if I didn't do these things, and when I don't do these things, I really don't feel well. This is a way to really feel phenomenal, right? So I'm encouraging people to try it. And when you do this, you really empower yourself, you empower the world, and you shift the currents of humanity. We want to send humanity from walking around with your phone like this, being zoned out on meaningless content, to refined, mature, spiritually advanced individuals. And when you change yourself, you change the world. So these are some things you can do to change the world just by changing yourself. And the world needs that, because the people on their phones like that, they don't know any better, right? They need examples. They need people around them doing that. It would be very difficult to be a phone zombie if nobody around you was a phone zombie, right? So we're susceptible to that. Sometimes it happens to me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't put my phone down. It's horrible, horrible, right? So we must resist that current of humanity and change the currents of humanity. All right. Any questions? Yeah, thank you for listening. I'd love to be able to share this with everybody. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. If there's no questions, we can do the last part of our it's 6:56. Let's do a quick meditation. Oh, are
I
you?
have one question.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
you talked about dispassion while you were doing meditation. So can you explain that more about dispassion? Because whole world t- talk about passion. You have to do your passion, be in your passion. But you are talking about dispassion. So
I know it's
can you
confusing.
please? Yeah.
Yeah. So remember this phrase or contemplate this. The heart of passion is dispassion. I know it's paradoxical, but to be a passionate human being, there has to be a sort of surrender, aloofness. You don't care. You just are what you are. And when you don't care, you allow yourself to be what you are. And when you're what you are, you find a passion of vitality that is not superficial, but very deep. So, in a way, I'm saying, let go of the superficial things in a state of dispassion. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what happens. I don't care. Let me go. Let me submerge into my true self. And when you do that, you release this energy. And that energy releases and it feels like passion, but it's not the passion of attachment. It's the passion of the divine. It's the passion of your heart, not of attachment. And it's the real true expression of spirit in the dualistic realm. I want to experience, we're here, we breathe, we have bodies, our cells are performing cellular respiration, and all these things are happening, right? We cannot get away from the fact that we live in a realm of dualistic forms. But within us is also the formless inspiration of the heart. We want to bridge the formless and the form. This is Tibetan Tantra, right, Karan? Wouldn't you say? We're bridging the formless and the form, and through devotion and love, which is to say, I don't care, I just love, I'm just grateful, I'm just being. In that devotional practice, we bring that integration of the formless and the form, of the changeless and the changeful, of the timeless qualities and the passage of time comes through us. So there's a lot to contemplate. You can read about these things are covered in the spiritual books. If you read the book list, they talk about some of these things in various parts of those books. So but you can feel dispassion when you're meditating. You're kind of like there's a power, there's a samurai energy of dispassion. Yeah. So let's meditate for a couple minutes. So I don't want to keep anybody too long. I'll start the music. We'll play one song. All right. So let's enjoy our beautiful focus, our Sangha connection, together focusing on the teachings. Just revel on that for 5 minutes or 3 minutes while we listen to the song. And feel your heart. Namaste, everybody. Thank you, Song. Thank you, Mom. Mom, I hope this was okay meditation for you. We usually go through all the
Lovely.
what you like?
Always lovely. It's always
Okay,
lovely. Thank you.
good, good. We always go through all the chakras together. So maybe we'll try and do that next time. I'd like to share a little teaching, a sermon each time as well. So it's a mixture of meditation and spiritual lesson. So today was routine. So please
Thank you.
enjoy that. Yeah. I'll see everybody later. Next class is same time every day. Tomorrow it'll be computer programming. And if you want to attend, please consider watching the Coding Train introductory video. It's actually 4 hours long. You can maybe watch just part of it or the whole thing in case you don't understand just some of the basics of computer programming for like if statements, variables, things like that. He does such a good job of teaching that it's probably better for him to just watch his video, and then we can kind of take off and focus on doing it in a conscious way, artistic way, some of the things that are specific to my aspect of teaching code. So thecodingtrain.com, that's the website. All right, bye everybody. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you for being here.